Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Yasya naisargiki rati.
Sarvati.
Guna alam asamkeye. Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Yasya naisargiki rati.
Yasya naisargiki ratihi.
Guna alam asamkeye.
Sankhya.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Vasudeva
Yasya naisargiki rati.
Yasya naisargiki ratihi.
And else chant.
Gunaagalam asankhyeya.
Guna alam asamkeye.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Vasudeve Bhagavati.
Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Yasya naisargiki ratihi.
Yasya naisargiki rati. Guna alam asankeye.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Mahatmyam tasya suchyate.
Vasudeve Bhagavati.
Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Yasya naisargiki ratihi.
Yasya naisargiki rati. Gunai, with spiritual qualities. Alam, what need? Asankeye, which are innumerable. Mahatmyam, the greatness. Tasya, of him, Prahlad Maharaj. Suchyate is indicated. Vasudeva, to Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Bhagavati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yasya,
Yasya,
of whom.
whom.
Naisargiki, natural. Rati, attachment. Translation. Who could list the innumerable transcendental qualities of Prahlad Maharaj? He had unflinching faith in Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and unalloyed devotion to him. His attachment to Lord Krishna was natural because of his previous devotional service. Although his good qualities cannot be enumerated, they prove that he was a great soul, Mahatma. Repeat after me. Who could list the innumerable transcendental qualities of Prahlad Maharaj? He had unflinching faith in Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and unalloyed devotion to him. His attachment to Lord Krishna was natural because of his previous devotional service. Although his good qualities cannot be enumerated, they prove that he was a great soul. Mahatma. Prabhupada's purport. In his prayers to the 10 incarnations, Jayadev Goswami says, Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Prahlad Maharaj was the devotee of Lord Nrsimha, who is Keshava, Krishna himself. Therefore, when this verse says Vasudeva Bhagavati, one should understand that Prahlad Maharaj's attachment for Nrsimhadev was attachment for Krishna, Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva. Prahlad Maharaj, therefore, is described as a great Mahatma. As the Lord himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. A great devotee of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, is a great soul, very rarely to be found. Prahlad Maharaj's attachment for Krishna will be explained in the next verse. Krishna Graha Grihitatman. Prahlad Maharaj's heart was always filled with thoughts of Krishna. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj is the ideal devotee in Krishna consciousness. Om again Tamarandasya Gyananjanastakaya Chakshurmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamanika He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabanda Jagatpate Gopeshwar Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanshakalatarubhyascha Vipa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This a verse we sing, Tavakara Kamala Hare Nakamat Bhutashin. We sing that after every kirtan, and that began in the temple in Los Angeles. Pretty much, I guess everybody knows the story that there was somebody threw a bomb into the temple room. Most of the devotees in Los Angeles had gone up to San Francisco for Rath Yatra, I think, and there were some devotees left, and Prabhupada was still there in the morning, and anyway, somebody threw a bomb in the temple room, and so at that time, nobody got seriously hurt. It said maybe some devotees might have gotten hurt a little. It said nobody got seriously injured. And anyway, that's when Prabhupada gave this. What? Nothing worse. That's when Prabhupada gave this, started us chanting mantras for Lord Nishingadev for the protection of the devotees, the protection of Prabhupada, the protection of his ISKCON movement. And anytime you preach in the material world, anytime, what yuga is, anybody know what yuga was Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nishingadev? Was it this planet? No, it wasn't this planet, but it was this universe, or what yuga it was? Anybody know?
It was previous Manvantar, not sure about the Yuga.
Yeah,
It was Chakshush Manvantar.
yeah. Anyway, so this is an eternal thing. It's always going on in the material world. The demons are always envious of the devotees, and it try to sometimes stop the devotees by legal methods or semi-legal methods or even violence. In that time, even when Prabhupada was starting the temple in Juhu, and there was so many problems there, real serious problems in getting the land and establishing the temple. And then when he did establish the temple, the people were complaining that the kirtan was a nuisance. And Prabhupada, he really didn't like, we shouldn't have loud kirtan, it's a nuisance. And Prabhupada really didn't like that. He said, and that in the land of India, in Krishna's land, you say that Krishna kirtan is a nuisance. This is insane. And I heard there was a movie house just not far down from the Juhu temple at that time. And there were big lines and all kinds of noise and everything. And Prabhupada is like, they had this crazy cinema house down the street, and people aren't complaining about that. In Kali Yuga, people love that kind of thing. But when you have a Harinam on the street, then it's a nuisance, it's a problem. So anyway, this is an eternal thing in preaching in the material world, or just being a devotee in the material world. Prahlad Maharaj was preaching, but the main thing that his Hiranyakashipu was objecting to was just the fact that he was a devotee of his enemy, God. God is my enemy. That's not a good enemy to have. But just the fact that he was a devotee of Krishna made his father angry, so angry that he tried to kill his own son, which is like. Before that, he was affectionate to his son. It was a, I'm sure a nice father, or trying to get his son to, be a nice little boy and a nice little demon boy, and but he wasn't exhibiting symptoms of being an evil, wicked father, so-called father, seminal father. But he was, but as soon as he knew that his son, what's the best thing you learned in school? Prahlad Maharaj says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. As soon as he knew that his son was a devotee of Krishna, then he's angry, so angry that he's ready to kill his own child. Helpless little kid, 5 years old. He thought he was helpless. He was helpless, but he wasn't helpless because he was protected by Lord Nishingadev directly. And, but that's the nature of preaching in the material world. It's going on. We're not so much bothered by anything too much in Boston. We don't have any real problems preaching here in Boston. Some of the neighbors don't like us, and they wish we would go away. And there are many people that don't like us, but we don't have any real problems. But in many places in the world, like in Bangladesh, in Russia previously, and so many places around the world, as we speak, the very devotees are facing very real dangers just to be a devotee and just to carry out the mission of preaching Krishna consciousness. So it should, no, it's not so, we don't, it's not something it's not just something we read about in the Bhagavatam or So it's what's going on in the world right now, and we never know in this country what could happen. Anything can happen in the material world at any time. But we have to be, devotees should always be on their guard, especially when you go out to preach. But even in this temple, somebody could throw a bomb through the window. Those windows are pretty hard, but somebody could open the front door, come in here, and throw a bomb in here. It can happen. It can happen. So I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but we are preaching in the material world, and should be aware of that. So Prabhupada gave this, and you can hear the tape where Prabhupada is instructing teaching them the mantras for Lord Nishingadev. Originally, he says, I heard it yesterday, and he said, have you passed out those papers to everyone? And so they all had a paper, and Prabhupada taught it to them word by word. And had him repeat it several times, and then he sang it, and they responded to him, and they sang it. So that's the beginning, because Prabhupada was well aware of the dangers of preaching in the material world. And this pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nishingadev, outside of the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka, outside of those, and of course outside of uh, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, these pastimes of Prahlad is the most often quoted and referred to verses and pastimes that we have in ISKCON. Devotees are always talking about Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nishingadev and Hiranyakashipu, putting on plays about some of the best plays that devotees in ISKCON put on are about Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nishingadev. And this is extreme. And because, and of course, Prahlad Maharaj's instructions to his classmates and then to his father, some of those verses are some of the most frequently quoted verses in all the classes that devotees give, that Prabhupada gave. Prabhupada was always referring to Prahlad Maharaj's instructions. Number one was, how does one start where from the very beginning of life you should take the Komar Macharatagu. And he refers to that one so frequently that from the very beginning of life, I was talking to Aradita yesterday, and she was lamenting that, that so many references in the books that from the very beginning of life one should take to Krishna consciousness, and there's so many devotees now have been raised in devotee families and practicing since their birth or since very early in their life. And she was lamenting, regretting that I didn't take seriously the Krishna consciousness. She was raised in a nice family in India, but her parents were worshippers of different demigods and had a good degree of impersonalism in their ideas, their philosophy, but nice Indian family from birth. But she was lamenting that I didn't take to Krishna consciousness until I was 28. And it's such a long time. So, and as I was 18, but some devotees came to Prabhupada or are coming now when they're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. 70 years old. Like Varun's father, him and Varun, he was just 2 years ago, he took seriously to Krishna consciousness, and he was probably about 65. So now look at him now. He's quoting Prabhupada's classes every day, putting them on the WhatsApp, and spending all his time at the temple. And he's old now. It's not easy for him to get around and do everything he's doing. So it doesn't matter whether we started 1 year old or 5 years old or 28 years old or 70 years old. It doesn't matter. We're all starting at a very late age. We've all had millions of births in the material world before this one. It's been a long time for all of us. And so the point is, it doesn't matter when you start. The only thing that, whatever happened in the past for millions of births, it's all forgotten. Krishna, as soon as you start chanting Hare Krishna, deciding to surrender to Krishna, then all your past births, all your past sinful activities, all our past karma, everything is forgotten. It doesn't matter anymore. It's too bad. It's too bad that we came to the material world in the first place. That's a great shame for us. But now the only thing that matters right now is what we do right now. What we're doing right now. The devotees are. Everyone here is very determined to be a good devotee and trying really, really hard to be obedient servants of Guru and Krishna, and all making very rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness. And because that's the power of the Krishna conscious process, that the progress is very quickly, and we see that. We see that. The devotees who came in the 60s or 70s, and now 50, 60 years later, you look at them, examine their Vaishnava qualities or behavior, you can see how far everyone has come and how great their development in Krishna consciousness is, to the point where they're such pure souls, just with no other ambition, no other desire other than to surrender to Prabhupada, surrender to Krishna. And the proof, Prabhupada said, the proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the eating of the pudding. If somebody says, this is a very delicious pudding, you may say, oh, it looks good, but you won't know how good it is and how satisfying it is until you eat it. And then you say, oh, but that's really good. And it does, and it satisfies your stomach and gives you energy. And that's, and Prabhupada said, referring to that, I'm not sure if it's it's a verse from Bhagavad Gita, not Bhagavatam, I think, where you take to Krishna consciousness, the results would be, there's three results. One will be same in English.
There will be satisfaction, nourishment, and hunger will be
satisfied. Yeah, and you'll have strength from it. So that's the obvious result from our own experience and from seeing the example of so many other devotees over the 60 years that Krishna Prabhupada has had his movement and active in this world. We see that it's true. I do feel satisfied. My hunger is gone. Because we always have a hunger for more Krishna consciousness. That kind of hunger is not gone, and it should never go. It does never go. We're always trying to improve, become better, more humble, less envious, better servants of Guru and Krishna. But our material hunger is gone, not completely, but to a great extent. Our material desires are really gone. We're not trying to develop a big position in the material world, or at least if we are, we know that we have to use whatever position and money we get in the material world in Krishna's service. So for all intents and purposes, our hunger for material development is gone. And we know that whatever we do develop in the material world, we can't hold on to it. We don't have any illusion. We're not under the same illusion that the materialists are there, that they think they won't die, they'll live to a ripe old age and then enjoy sense gratification for. So anyway, we're not under that illusion anymore. We don't think like that because we know it's just not the reality. So our senses are satisfied, our Krishna conscious senses are satisfied, our hunger for material life is gone, and we have energy. It's like everyone here. Everyone here is up early every morning, coming to the temple, worshiping the deities, chanting japa, and as much as possible throughout the day, and certainly in the evening, everyone is chanting, reading, talking about Krishna, and yeah. So we know we're getting all those results, and we see it in the devotees all around us. So we know that Krishna conscious process of Krishna consciousness is real and it's practical, and we're the beneficiaries of it. Yeah, so it doesn't matter when you start. The only thing that matters is what we do minute to minute, day by day, year by year, now, in surrendering to Krishna. Prabhupada quotes that Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanavamam Prapadyate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many, many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Everyone thinks they're very intelligent now, and big the propaganda and just a general understanding that I'm very intelligent. Everyone thinks like that, but Krishna says if you're actually intelligent, if you're actually in knowledge, the proof of that will be that you surrender to me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Well, there's one other example I wanted to give in relationship to that first point. There's one purport where Prabhupada talks about the spiritual master and how the proof of the effectiveness and the devotional service of a bona fide spiritual master is his disciples. That if the disciples of the spiritual master are developing all the Vaishnava qualities, then that's proof that their spiritual master is a bona fide guru in disciplic succession. And of course, the opposite isn't true unless it's like all his disciples. But if somebody, the spiritual master has many very well-behaved disciples, they're a great credit to him. It's the same way in the material world. If a father and mother have kids who grow up and be nice and good citizens and cheerful and hardworking and everything, then people will look at the kids and say, "Oh, their mother and father must have been very good mother and father." So it's the same with the spiritual master. People will think like that in relationship to the disciples and the spiritual master. And of course, if we are misbehaving disciples, then that doesn't detract from our spiritual master, but it's our fault. And we have to take responsibility for our own neglect, our own lack of determination. Each devotee is responsible for their own behavior, our own development in Krishna consciousness. So we want to be good representatives of our spiritual master. Okay, all glory to the Prabhupada. Ki Jai.